Jeremy Rosenthal joining us. He is the founder of TexasDefenseFirm.com. He's who we go to when we have legal issues we got to talk about. And the big one is Joe Biden expected to announce a Supreme Court reform plan today sometime. Jeremy, are you for a reforming of the Supreme Court?
There's a lot of issues here. You've got Ketanji Brown Jackson getting free Beyonce tickets. You've got Clarence Thomas taking I don't know how many free flights and trips places. You've got Brett Kavanaugh's name. You've got Neil Gorsuch's name. This is an issue in Texas. If you were to take judges and say, "Go to the Bahamas on me," how would we react here? The Constitution has, believe it or not, a loophole, and that is that the Supreme Court gets to decide themselves whether or not they're following the rules of ethics. It's the trust me model of government. We don't have it really for any other branch. Whether we like the president or don't like him, he is taking aim at an institution with historically low public approval. Is it good politics? Is it needed? That's not for me to decide, but these are issues out here that people are talking about.
Right. And with so many bigger fish to fry, at least in some folks' mind, the border, the way he's paying off student debt left and right, even though the Supreme Court said no. I mean, it almost seems like there is specific beef going on between the president and this court.
I mean, Joe Biden is a lame duck as of last week. And I, again, not a politician. I don't know these things. Maybe he feels a little more free to pick a fight here. Maybe that's what's going on. So yeah, I can't say what the impetus is. I don't know if he thinks that this is good politics, but again, yeah, it may be that he's always kind of had this chip on his shoulder, and now that we don't have to worry about reelection, yeah, let's go take a swing at these folks.
Jeremy, does the Supreme Court need high public approval ratings?
Okay, so my law school professor is going to be really, really, really proud of me here. There is a book that they made me read my third year of law school called The Least Dangerous Branch. The guy's by the name of Alexander Bickel, really highfalutin constitutional scholar, much different than me. What he says is that, look, the Supreme Court is the only branch of government that doesn't have an army or that doesn't have an enforcement mechanism, right? The executive branch has the military. The legislative branch, those guys have the purse strings. Why do we follow the Supreme Court? Because we're good people, because we're law-abiding people. The Supreme Court has to basically take the measure of the country if they want to be followed. For instance, you had Plessy versus Ferguson in the 1890s, separate but equal, which everybody hated, which, believe it or not, was the law of the land until the 1950s. But the Supreme Court, there's a lot of data out there that suggests that as early as the 1920s, as early as the 1930s, they knew segregation was bad. They knew segregation was not legal, yet they didn't overrule it for 30 years because they knew that a lot of the southern states were just going to flat out revolt because of it. The point being is that in many ways, yes, the Supreme Court, if they want us to buy into what they're doing, has to have some level of credibility. So that is the fundamental issue when you have a branch of government that we follow them just because.
All right. If I'm looking at his plans and they're saying a code of ethics, I don't think anybody would argue with that. If he talks about adding more justices, I think you'd have a lot of people arguing with that. I would be the number one person to argue it.
That's political kryptonite, right? FDR in the 1930s, he was I think into his third term, really, really popular. He started wanting to pack the court, and everything turned on him. So I think that's a pretty good lesson politically, and I don't think that President Biden is quite ready to chew that off.
All right. Jeremy Rosenthal, founder of TexasDefenseFirm.com. Jeremy, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.